Season 4, Episode 60 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lipskin. That is Pat Callahan. That is Jack Church. Oh, God, bad point. That is Jack Church here with us to talk Final Four basketball, folks. We have made it. We are just under 24 hours away from the women's Final Four. Just under 48 hours away from the men's Final Four, guys. It's the best time of year.
Let's freaking go.
You failed to mention Chipotle Nationals in that, but
yeah, we're crowning three national champions in the next 48.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. God, we didn't even make it a minute into this show before we devolved into Providence Twitter.
Whoops.
Hey, they're sometimes wonderful people, but they make Twitter a wonderful place.
Well said.
Mindset. Anyway, Jack, we brought you on. Obviously, you watch a lot more women's basketball than we do, but we've all been locked in on the NCAA tournament because it's been terrific.
Absolutely has been. From some of those first four games were really incredible, and then just first weekend was a little didn't necessarily deliver, but from then on it's just been incredible. Had that Stanford Iowa State game. Don't know if any of y'all watched that in the second round.
And then at the same time as the Houston Texas A&M game, so I didn't really watch it, but I was following it.
All right, fair enough. And then the second weekend and the booming metropolis of Albany, New York, and the land of the uneven 3-point lines, Portland, Oregon.
I mean, it was just the environment in Albany. You could hear it through the TV. It was so good.
And just to think that Sam was so close yet so far away from being in Albany on Saturday.
Shut up, Jack.
Well, Sam, they played that at the world's most famous arena, MVP Arena.
That is what they're calling it these days.
That is. So we have
New York's most famous arena.
We have the Cathedral of College Basketball in the Daskalakis Athletic Center and the world's most famous arena in MVP Arena.
MVP Arena.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, MVP Arena is the home to the most ever watched women's basketball game.
True.
Yeah, and let's talk about that game. LSU and Iowa, Monday night, 12 million people tuned in, and it delivered. It was fast-paced, up and down. Caitlin Clark delivered. Angel Reese delivered. Flau'jae Johnson delivered. Everyone delivered in this game.
Not Haley Van Lith. Not Haley Van Lith.
No.
I just
not.
I mean, Kim Mulkey delivered in the press conference.
True. That is true.
What do you expect?
Jack and I were texting during the press conference. We were streaming the press conference through the Zoom. And we were live texting a press conference for a game.
I was recovering the game.
Kim Mulkey has become just as must watch, if not more must watch, than the LSU basketball team itself.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, it took her 36 minutes to realize that putting Haley Van Lith on Caitlin Clark was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say on Twitter after the game that Kim Mulkey was the John Calipari of women's college basketball, and someone replied and said that's like a disservice to Mulkey as a basketball coach and Calipari as a human.
I mean, it's true. Mulkey won a national championship last year. And John Calipari, as far as we know, has never told his gay players that he would rather them not come out.
Yeah.
Kim Mulkey attacking the Washington Post for a Nothing Burger article just makes me wonder how much she actually did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say she has a guilty conscience because she probably thought they were gonna drop some bombshell talking about how she
I mean, hey, that's why you have lawyers.
I mean, that is why you have lawyers, but I feel like the preemptive strike there from her just wasn't needed.
I mean, the thing about that article is it was a profile, but it did very well to it.
It's a really good profile.
It was.
Yeah.
And it did really well to explain why Kim Mulkey would think it's a hit piece.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think that's the best thing it did.
I
You gotta
I
remember,
I spent 45 minutes reading that article. Like I read every word. It was terrific.
Well, you also got to remember she's also like an older woman that is born and raised in the South, so she, she's big on cancel culture and stuff. So like she probably,
Yeah, but now the Louisiana governors.
Then did you see the narrative on Twitter that she's a liberal because LSU wasn't on the court during the national anthem?
Have you seen the narrative that Sam Fetterman was at the Capitol storming? That was a real DM. It was a real DM.
Yes, it was. We'll get into that later. But this is a lot of tomfoolery for the Final Four preview when we haven't even started talking about the Final Four.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's get into the Final Four. The first game, South Carolina and NC State. Good on NC State for getting here. 31-6, really, really good season for them. They started 14-0. They went 13-5 in the ACC. They made it to the ACC championship game. I mean, they had a really damn good season. It didn't feel like anyone was talking about them.
Yeah, unranked to start the year. They beat who'd they beat in the second? Oh yeah, they beat Tennessee in the second round. That makes sense. And then Kelly Harper was fired. Oh, and then
they hired.
I don't know.
Sure.
Let's see what happens. You know what's funny is yeah. What's funny is athletic director Danny White. He's doing all the interviews in Atlanta because he doesn't want people tracking the planes. Because Tennessee
and why
fans
is he doing it in Atlanta and not in like different places?
Because there are so many planes that go into Atlanta that you just
Atlanta
can't tell.
Airport's huge.
Yeah, Hartsfield Jack. Yeah, that's a really smart play. That's like
I know.
Tracking.
Yeah, that was sharp
women's basketball coaching search is absolutely like awesome. By the way, that this is something that we have to do now.
Okay, but if you do that, you should also probably be on a watch list of some kind. Just
I know, but not only.
But Jack, when it's your job, like if you did it, I'd be like, okay, I get it. It's his job. But if it's just some random fan, keep an eye on them. Just like,
but I mean, you have to remember
back to NC State. I'm the host of this show. Talk about NC State.
No, I'm going to get back. Kelly Harper, assistant coach for Westmore at Chattanooga. Westmore, the coach of NC State.
Good. Very good.
But NC State had a great overall year. But I said this. It was the first game of the season. It was the game in Paris between South Carolina and Notre Dame. And South Carolina just demolished Notre Dame. And I think I said after that game, nobody's beating South Carolina all year.
Yeah, I mean they that game they beat them 100-71.
Yeah.
And they had 5 players in double figures. They had Cardoso went for 20 and 15. Notre Dame is a really good team. And then the next game they beat Maryland by 40. Then they beat Clemson by 70. Now, Clemson's not very good. They went 12 and 19, but beating a power conference team by 70?
How many they beat Presbyterian by while you got the notes out?
The Blue Hose.
70, exactly 70.
No, what was that game? There was one game that was just 29. There was one game that was even more insane than that.
They beat Morgan State 104-38.
Yeah, that'll be the one.
Which is 66. It's less than 70.
That's some McNeese, Mississippi
They
University.
beat Kentucky 98-36.
Jonathan, did you just mention the game of the year?
Yes, I did.
I mean, so the women, South Carolina, it just feels like after the Iowa loss last year, and Jack mentioned the Notre Dame game, they're almost invincible. Not almost, they are. To beat any power conference team by 71 points is something like that can't be ignored.
I just look at this team and I see I see just coaching masterclass by Dawn Staley. Last year, Caitlin Clark was literally trolling them for how little they could shoot. So what does she do this year? She loses 5 starters. Cardoso turns into an All-American. And then I'm not, by the way, not like gonna say Cardoso turning into an All-American is about Dawn Staley's player development. She was the top 5 recruit, ACC freshman of the year at here, Syracuse, and then she transferred to South Carolina, and she was always going to become this.
It was all Syracuse.
Yeah,
she was always going to become this from how good she was.
Temple made Dawn Staley the coach that she was.
How good she was coming off the bench last year for Aaliyah Boston. There was no drop off, and I think that honestly says also a little bit about Boston too, that there wasn't a drop off with Cardoso, because I thought she got awards that maybe she didn't deserve last year.
Aaliyah Boston WNBA Rookie of the Year?
No. I'm saying I don't think she deserved National Player of the Year last year. But whatever. We'll move on to back to, like, she goes out in the transfer portal, and Tahina Paopao is a 46% 3-point shooter that she brings in. And you just look at everything that they have this year. Malaysia Fulwiley is a great shooter as well. Bree Hall steps up and hits shots. Chloe Kitts is not a shooter, but who's the other? They have one other shooter on the team.
Raven Johnson.
Oh, Johnson, Tessa Johnson. She can shoot. Yeah. So they have a bunch of shooters, and then Ashlyn Watkins steps up and is playing at a much higher level this year from last. And I just think that this team, talent-wise, is on another level from basically every other team in the country in terms of what they can do on the glass, what they can do from behind the arc, what they can do physically on the defensive end, and what they can do handling the ball as guards. There's just so much dominance from this group.
I mean, since the start of the 2022 calendar year, South Carolina has lost 2 games. I don't think they're going to lose a third.
Is that good?
I think that might be good.
Do sources confirm that it might be good?
No.
Really? They don't confirm.
Well, I mean, we don't know how many games they won. So, like,
Is
they might
Rob
be
down
0-2.
A lot. They've won, let's see,
in the Final Four, but might be 0-2.
24. 24 plus 36 is 60 plus 36, 96-2.
That's math with Sam Fetterman. Now over to Pat with the weather.
Yeah.
Pat, what's the weather in Philly?
It was nice today. There was some rain.
Jack, sports.
South Carolina's really good.
All right, now the game that everyone cares about. Yes, UConn and Iowa. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I was thinking about this. Are there any UConn fans going to Cleveland? They're just all going to Phoenix for this. It's just going to be an Iowa home game. It was going to be an Iowa home game regardless, because Caitlin Clark has more fans than God basically right now.
Yeah, I mean, UConn and Iowa have played before, and Paige Beckers was in the presser today. She was asked what she remembers about that game, and she said that it was the game she slapped Gino Auriemma in the butt.
Well, it's that's just how she rocks. Like, I don't know what to say.
It's crazy how little you'd think their personalities would jive, but man,
it's insane. It's insane.
To be fair, there's not a single player that you would think Gino's personality would jive with.
He's one of the all-time hard.
Like, you think Dan Hurley's a sicko? Gino's a different kind of sicko.
So Gino's a member at our golf course, and he yells at himself on the driving range.
That's one thing I have in common with Gino.
Yeah. He's ill, but like in a good way.
Hates everybody.
No, but it's why he's been so successful over his career.
Say,
like, to win like that, you have to be psychotic.
I was gonna say you kind of have to be in a profession
100%.
like that.
Yeah, no. Exactly. 33-5, having lost 6 players to season.
And this is a down year for them too, which is
because they lost 6 players to season-ending injuries.
Yeah.
And here they are in the Final Four with 5 girls, 2 of them freshmen.
Just one of the all-time winners. That's all I can be saying.
And then you get foul trouble in the last game, and you get Caden Samuels, another freshman, coming off the bench and giving 14 big minutes.
I feel like the discourse around Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers heading into this game has been really weird.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's terrible. It's so unhealthy. It's all it's doing is, people on Paige's side discrediting Caitlin Clark. Well, if Paige never got hurt, she'd be better than Caitlin Clark. And then people on Caitlin Clark's side calling her injury prone and all that, blah, 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 blah. Can we just shut up and enjoy the fact that we have 2 of the all-time great college women's basketball players at the same time playing each other in such a high-stakes game? Can we just enjoy that for what it is?
No.
Oh, Paige is a better all-around.
What does that even mean?
The scoring gravity of Caitlin just makes her so impactful on the offensive end that, like, she's what's the word? She's multiple standard deviations above everybody else on the offensive end, regardless.
Sam Cutterman part 2.
Regardless of whatever her stats say, she's multiple standard deviations above everybody else because her ability to score and just get past anybody on the drive, get 2 feet in the lane and get a layup, or just hit a 3 from 40 feet, demands defensive attention on every part of the court, demands all of your help defensive attention if she breaks through, demands you to hedge your ball screens, or at least you cannot play any sort of drop against her because she can make any shot.
Yeah, I thought LSU going under screens against her was
LSU only went under like 2 or 3 screens, and it was early every time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Going under 2 or 3 screens should get every time you go under a Caitlin Clark screen, the coach should be fined $30,000.
Well, the going under 2 or 3 Caitlin Clark screens, that is the difference between it being a 3-possession game, a 2-possession game, and that's the difference between a win and a loss. And they did it early. I remember they did it early, and she drilled a 3. And her first shot of the game, Haley Van Lith goes under a screen. You're thinking to yourself, watching that game, oh boy, here we go. Like, this is going to be a terrible night for LSU.
Like, I'll say this. For as great of a coach as Kim Mulkey is, she got royally outcoached in this game by Lisa.
100%.
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, I just don't understand how it takes you 36 minutes to realize that Haley Van Lith on Caitlin Clark, while Haley Van Lith is ill, isn't a good idea. Haley Van Lith wasn't even 100% for that game.
Haley Van Lith hasn't been 100% all season, basically. Let's put it. Let's show it. Let's tell it how it is. She's been ass this year. She's been ass lately.
Today she hopped in the portal again.
Yeah.
Temple Owl.
Louisville?
Temple Owl.
She's going to get sponsored by FanDuel. Sorry. You had to make that.
No, but like, Caitlin Clark is also not a bad defender. I don't know where that narrative started that she's a bad defender.
Because she's good at offense. Like, people think that you can't be good at both.
Like, Paige Beckers might be the best defensive guard in the country, but like, Caitlin Clark's a really good defender too.
And the crazy thing is,
about Caitlin Clark is, I do think it's like good for the sport that like people are coming up with these like bad narratives because like now people actually care.
Yeah, I was texting you this. Like, I saw a WNBA mock draft today, and I'm like, damn, people are actually debating this in the comments.
And like when they played Colorado in the Sweet 16, like people were actually talking like legit X's and O's basketball with it because like Colorado like made her a playmaker instead of a scorer, and like we got actual X's and O's discourse about it.
And the best thing about Caitlin Clark's game might not even be your shooting; it might be your passing.
I agree.
I don't think I agree. I think she can sometimes make some really poor decisions with her passing. But
That's fair.
Not that she doesn't make poor decisions with her shooting. The ball just goes in.
Fair enough.
At what point are they not poor decisions, though?
Yeah, but like I think with her passing, like she got a little bit out of control towards the end of the first half of that end of the first quarter of that game. And what I said she needed to do was make jump stops instead. What she just needed to do was make jump shots. Who cares? She scored 41 and had 12 assists, and I was criticizing like a couple plays. Like, shut up, Sam. Let greatness happen.
Yeah, but the thing I worry about for Iowa is rebounding, because you just have Aaliyah Edwards on the inside. And
yeah, but the question is, how do you guard their ball screens and keep Aaliyah Edwards on the inside?
You don't. Like you have to
Caitlin with reaction.
That's the matchup problem that you cause, because if you hedge out, the rest of this UConn team is really small. Paige Beckers is basically the 4. And she's probably Nika probably gets a little bit of the Clark matchup too. Because that's another elite guard. But Caitlin's got like 4 inches on Nika, right? I mean, Paige and Caitlin are gonna be going at it. They're gonna be guarding each other for sure. But if you hedge out and you're relying on Ashlyn Shade and KK Arnold to grab rebounds, that's not a great idea. But if you drop, then Caitlin will just tear you apart in the mid-range, or she'll just blow right by and get layups. Yeah. And that's kind of my problem. And if you switch, you're creating matchup problems and against Caitlin, and you can't really do that. So I honestly feel UConn might have to just deny all ball screens and try and ice to the sidelines and just keep Caitlin slow and like try and force her to take shots late into the clock.
There's the other thing you can do, though. You could just let Caitlin go for 45 and say just shut down everyone else.
But it's not like you're just letting Caitlin go for 30 like you would with Edie. She could score 50.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Like Edie can score 30, 35. Caitlin can score 50.
And like Edie's shooting all 2s. Like,
yeah.
It's easier to go trade buckets when someone's making all 2s.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to the LSU game that it felt like LSU was almost kind of trying to do that, in that they were just trading long 2s for Caitlin Clark's 3s. You know, like that's never going to work. You can't try and go bucket for bucket with Caitlin Clark because she in herself is an entire offense.
Yeah. Jack, who's going to win?
So in my original bracket,
start with the first game.
In my original bracket, I had South Carolina winning the first game and I had LSU winning the second game, but LSU's not in the second game, so I can't pick them anymore. So I'm gonna go South Carolina, Iowa, and then we're gonna get 15 million people to watch South Carolina win by like 15.
Say 50 or 15?
15.
Okay.
Because I think Tahina Paopao can go shot for shot with Caitlin Clark. If that's what
Iowa can go shot for shot with Caitlin Clark.
Tahina Paopao shooting 46% from 3.
Yeah, but like shot for shot with Caitlin Clark is different from 46% from 3.
I believe Caitlin Clark is shooting less than 46% from 3.
No, she is, but tougher shots.
Yeah, but when you also have to handle Cardoso on the inside, you also have to handle...
I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm just saying that's not exactly the argument I would use.
That's fair. Yeah. South Carolina, that's my pick.
Pat?
It begs the question, would you rather have a superstar that's surrounded by really good players or an entire team of stars, what it feels like with South Carolina? And I feel like Caitlin Clark won't be denied this year. So I'm going to go with Iowa. And
Jonathan.
Then I think they play South Carolina in the final.
Jonathan?
I'll take South Carolina over Iowa.
You're gonna make me pick UConn, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. Do it.
I picked UConn in my original bracket, but like
I'm not picking
Yes,
against Gino.
you could still pick NC State.
I'm not picking against Gino. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doubting him. But he got this team to the Final Four. He can do one more. Now, he's not winning the national championship. South Carolina's winning the national championship.
Yeah.
South Carolina might win the national championship game by 25.
Sam, if UConn beats Iowa, do we add Caitlin Clark to the "this coach is really good" category?
No, because Bluter's like known as like one of the best X's and O's coaches in the country.
Okay,
but like, I think we can do it for the memes,
for the narratives.
Is Don Connect in that category too, or
no? Rick can coach.
Okay,
it's either got to be like
you can coach in February.
It's either got to be like really, really funny or like a legit like argument. Like the Jalen Hood-Shavina thing was so good.
Who else was in there?
It was Kenneth Walker from Michigan.
Yes.
The running guy?
Yeah.
Yes. He got Mel Tucker.
He got Mel Tucker like a 7-year contract.
Yeah, he did. That will hashtag Tuck coming, but it's not.
Hashtag
yeah.
the Tuck.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but I'm picking South Carolina over UConn.
Oh, dude.
I will say Iowa has a better chance to beat South Carolina than UConn does, simply because I don't think UConn has the depth. But neither team's going to. I would put like an 80% chance South Carolina wins the whole thing.
I'm going to look at like what the odds are right now.
I'll ask Kysir Miller. You don't need to do that.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Jack. Anything else you want to talk about?
South Carolina's minus 220.
UConn men are minus 185, by the way.
That checks out.
Nice.
My men's bracket, and I basically watched zero men's basketball. But my champion is still in.
Who's your champion?
Purdue.
Purdue.
Of course. Not surprised.
No, they were supposed to. No, in the national championship, I was really high on a certain Auburn team that got knocked out in the first round. But
It feels like everybody I talked to had Auburn in the Final Four.
Not me.
There
was only nobody picked anyone besides Auburn or UConn to make the Final Four out of that region. Not a single person. Not a soul picked. If you picked Iowa State to make the Final Four, you should be on a watch list.
Dan Hurley told his team that only 2% of brackets on ESPN Tournament Challenge had UConn winning it all, instead of like the 25% it actually was.
I think it was way higher than 25.
Dan Hurley went to the Kirby Smart School of Brainwashing.
Yeah, he did. I mean, nobody down.
I never get tired of that clip of the Georgia guy saying we were going to go 5-7.
Sam, did you like what I tweeted last night?
Let me find it.
It wasn't on my regular account.
Oh yeah, let me find it.
You have a burner?
I do, but it's private.
I saw that. That was
my burner Twitter account is just the latest happenings with Caleb Grill group chat.
Yeah, we should charge people to sit in the latest happenings of Caleb Grill group chat.
It's just us doing the just saw tweets.
Yeah.
It's just,
and obviously, thank you, mindset the best.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, dude, I think we say Kysir Miller's name like once a day in that chat.
Well, during the American tournament, I had to send it every single morning.
Dude, I'd wake up every morning to a text that said Kysir Miller plays basketball today.
No, it was Kysir Miller bets on his own games today.
We're only missing one person from my two funniest group chats.
The Destroyer?
No, we're missing Ian.
Oh.
Although
that's an elite group chat.
Although that is a third group chat that is somewhat interesting.
Well, because you talked about women's basketball more than you do baseball.
Yes. Anyway, Back to the point.
So for my men's bracket, which I have no idea what I'm doing, I picked Purdue, so I'm going to stick with Purdue just for the sake of sticking with that.
You should.
All right, Jack. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, big softball series this weekend. Number 3 Georgia, number 6 Tennessee.
All right, that's it.
I'll be there all weekend.
We're done. Dude, he is laughing so hard right now.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
He just rocked back and forth like 3 times, and he is laughing so hard.
Just saw Jack Church at a Buc-ee's rambling about Tennessee softball. Seemed a tad unhinged.
A tad is generous there, you know.
All right, guys. Thank you, Jack, for joining us. Now it's time to do the same thing, but probably a little bit more serious.
No.
Because we watch a heck of a lot more men's basketball than we do women's basketball, unlike our previous guest. That's why we thank him for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, look at the thing below my name. I changed that early on in the show.
Saw that, and I laughed at it earlier in the show.
Okay. I did not see that, but that's great.
My friend who goes to ASU texted me that he saw Kim English, and I texted back, "Thank you, Mike."
Thank you.
Hashtag the best.
There's so many other things you could throw in there too. I mean, at the Big East tournament, every time they would show Providence fans on the jumbotron, you know what they would do? Mindset. They would all say it. They were all wearing T-shirts that said it. I mean, Osman Erm once was wearing the "Thank You" T-shirt a week before. Like,
so good.
They're nuts. So good. I love them. Hashtag Fanta Windmill.
Hashtag
Fanta Windmill.
I can't believe that was.
That was incredible.
It was. It truly.
Should we do?
Anyway, on bracketsbubblesandbidstealers.com, you can find every single day. I've now done this for 3 days, so every single day ever, because the world started on Tuesday. You can read about 3 or 4 notable commitments out of the transfer portal. I talked about Zach Martini to Rutgers, Joe Charles to McNeese, and PJ Haggerty to Memphis. I will not just be talking about the 3 most high-profile commitments each day, because that's boring. Nobody wants to talk about the 3 most high-profile commitments each day. Now, I did do that yesterday.
Yeah.
When I talked about Eddie Lampkin, Doug McDaniel, and Terrence Edwards. But I'm not going to do that every day. I definitely should have done that. But Jack, Georgia Amore committed to Kentucky like 10 minutes before I started this show. So no. But also mindset.
Yeah, mindset.
Let's get back to business here. bracketsbubblesandbidstealers.com. Also, Pat's Chipotle Nationals.
Yeah.
Pat's Chipotle Nationals preview. Just a big list of names, basically.
Yeah.
In paragraph form.
Yeah.
Jonathan, slacking, as always.
A little bit.
Listen, you can't say that he's slacking and not say that I'm slacking. Like,
you at least wrote an article.
I'm taking slack. Dude, no, I have. It just has been a while. I was going to write something.
The last article you wrote was your Jerome picks.
I have to coordinate with Pat after the show about some stuff.
What stuff?
I was just going to write some Chipotle National stuff tonight and was going to see if you were doing anything.
No, you can do it. I mean, I have to be up at 7 a.m. tomorrow to pick my classes. So,
anyway,
I can hear my roommates yelling at me.
That's something that needs to happen, Pat. I think it's time you go to bed.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too.
Pat, thank you so much for joining us. We simply can't. This is not tenable any longer.
No, it's not. It's not. I just want to say one thing. Darren Harris, buy stock now. Buy stock now.
Stock is bought, by the way. I bought stock.
Did you? I told you about Nigel James on Luhai like back in October. Sam, did you buy his stock yet?
I bought stock when he told me about him.
Okay. And with that, on that note, I will leave. I will go to bed. I'll pick my classes. Jonathan, you can write about Chipotle all you want tonight and tomorrow if you need to. I don't care.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Sam, thank you for having me on as always.
Pack it
I'll
out.
see you guys. Okay, I'm leaving.
All right, we need to get serious now, John.
Yeah, let's do it.
Final Four time. Let me tweet this out.
Final
quickly.
Four.
Jonathan.
Samuel.
Let's do this. Game 1. Purdue, NC State. Who would have thought? Did you see that tweet on Sunday? The one that was Purdue versus NC State, Zach Edey versus DJ Burns. There was Taco against the fat guy.
Yes.
That 50,000 likes.
I think this is the end of the road for NC State.
It has to be. It has to be.
Purdue's
There's no way. Like
Purdue's too smart for them.
They just don't match. Like these teams don't match up.
No.
Like Purdue is better at every position. They have a better coach. They have NC State has made it this far because everyone else just kind of died. Like their opponents died against them. Texas Tech played dumb basketball. Oakland was a 14 seed. Marquette shot 4 for 31 from 3. And Duke basically had no game plan or adjustments.
Handed them the game.
No offense to NC State. Like, they still had to go out there and score more points than the opponent.
This is true.
But there's no way. I'm sorry. They're not winning this game. They'll have no answers. Like, DJ Burns, as much as we love him, freaking stinks at defense.
Yes.
We've been talking about this for over a year on Braxwell with Steelers.
I've seen like way too many people compare other players to DJ Burns lately.
Eddie Lampkin is DJ Burns. No, he's not. Just because he's big and fat doesn't mean he's DJ Burns.
DJ Burns is DJ Burns for a reason. And like,
if other people were DJ Burns, then DJ Burns wouldn't be DJ Burns.
Like, is DJ Burns going to be able to like score again in this game?
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to shoot over Edey?
He'll fake him out once or twice.
Yeah.
But like he'll score like 7 points.
I don't even know what NC State's recipe is to like staying in this one.
I've been thinking about this.
Is it just like Purdue missing shots?
I've been thinking about this all week, and I just don't. I don't know. Like
I think
you have to drop. You have to drop Burns.
Yeah.
When Edey comes up and sets the screens, or either that or you just and basically you end up with Diarra having to rotate around 3 guys every possession.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want Braden Smith to dominate you in the mid-range. If you're okay with that, no. And if you don't want Braden Smith to dominate you in the mid-range and you want Diarra just running through a bunch of guys trying to chalk matchups, you're giving up open threes to Fletcher Lawyer. You're giving up open threes to Lance Jones. Purdue's offense is the number 2 offense in the country for a reason. They'll create mismatches. By the way, the top 3 offenses in the country made the Final Four this year. How much do you want to bet Ryan Hammer is going to make a video about that next year?
we got to work that into the preseason bets next year. I think it might be
God, I love you, Ryan Hammer, but some of these videos, the trapezoid of excellence. Yeah, man, the teams with the best net rating are good. Who would have thought?
I think in NC State's case, could be as simple as like, hey, like we'll trap Edie and make other guys beat us, and we'll live with what happens. But like, Purdue's fine with that.
Like that was the game plan to beat them last year. Purdue has elite guards now.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't work anymore. Just why Purdue's in the Final Four.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't understand why so many people were hesitant to pick. Well, I do understand. I do know. I don't understand. It just tells me that nobody's watched them all year.
Yeah,
and
it's more so what people were saying rather than what they were doing.
Do we have to have the Zach Edey foul discussion one more time on this show?
I watched it in person. Tennessee fouled him like every time down the floor. They were legit fouls. And like, yeah, he could have been called for like 1 or 2 more fouls, but like he gets fouled every time down. Like, I don't think people cannot grasp that there is a player as good as him.
That is like as simple as him. Not because like they can grasp like Caitlin Clark. People grasp Caitlin Clark.
People can't grasp that there's a post player as good as him.
People can't grasp that there's a player that's so simple but so dominant. Catch ball, dunk ball. Catch ball, hook shot. Catch ball, draw foul. It's that simple. But nobody can stop it. And like for a while, I didn't like it either. I was a big Travion Williams guy because I didn't like it.
I have a take that I think some people will not like.
What is it?
If Zach Edey, if he was 7'1", if he shrunk 3 inches, he still would have been the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, no doubt. He's not good because he's not like an elite player because he's like, sure, if he were 6'10",
being 7'4" certainly helps, but like
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know if he'd be like 25 a game National Player of the Year.
No, but like
he'd average 18, 19, and 10.
His skill set is not a result of him being 7'4".
Not at all. Favorite moment on Sunday was a Tennessee fan complaining about Edey getting 3 seconds uncalled and someone left a community note. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did. Because like you only have to put 1 foot out of the lane.
Yeah.
It's also funny because like people generally don't know how to count.
Yeah, no, because the officials just like do this. Like they're not counting.
I also like this is something I realized a long time ago. So Sam, count to 3 for me.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. How long do you think it took you to say the number 1? My point is people don't realize that when you're counting, there is time in between 0 and 1 seconds that you have to account for that you don't like mentally process because you're just saying the number 1. Like it does not take you 1 full second to say the number 1.
1, 2, 3.
Which is why 3 seconds there's usually a little more leniency.
I also just haven't really seen offensive 3 seconds called in a very long time.
No,
you know why? Because nobody stays in the paint for 3 seconds.
It's not a fake rule, but like people like don't use it. Like it's just not a thing.
Yeah, like I look at Purdue and I see, I mean, Braden Smith averaged 12, 7.5, and 6 this year on 45, 44, 80 splits. Like, he's going to be a freaking, like, first-team All-American next year.
When Purdue's a top 10 team again next year, people are going to be mad.
They're going to say Edey was, like, not all that good and all that. They're going to make so many narratives when Will Berg has, like...
Who's ready for the Will Berg breakout?
When Will Berg scores, like...
He will be on my breakout list next year, by the way.
When Will Berg scores, like, 21 on opening night against, like...
Monmouth.
Against, like, fucking Carmel High School. Same night Kansas loses at Glenbrook North.
Yes.
God, we have too many bits.
Way too many.
But when Purdue beats Carmel High School 121-62 on opening night next year, Will Berg has 21-11 and Braden Smith has 27, 13, and 6. Like, what are people going to say about Zach Edey?
It'll be a bad night on Twitter.
Oh, no, it'll be a great night on Twitter because no one will notice it. There's 150 games. Nobody will notice that.
That is going to be great until everyone realizes Will Wade has a school scheduled named after not the gender that they're playing against.
Wilberg's first Big Ten game is going to be a bad night on Twitter, though.
Yeah.
Now the question is, will he have a big
or just like that, or just like who Purdue play? Because I'm sure Purdue will schedule a good non-con. They usually do.
Yeah, but who knows if he'll play well. Anyway, if NC State wins this game, I would be beyond shocked.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Although Mo Diarra randomly turning into an All-American during the NCAA tournament is pretty cool.
It's cool. Maybe him and Sean East this year both have been kind of reminders that they came up from JUCO. Maybe we need to give JUCO guys a little more time to get used to this level.
Or you could just see how Jason Edwards made first-team All-American conference, and you can say, hey, maybe some of these JUCO guys can really play.
There's good basketball everywhere.
Yaxel Lendeborg.
Nick Pringle was a JUCO guy.
Yep. There's great basketball at the JUCO level. Danis Jenkins was a JUCO guy 2 years ago. He made All Big East second team this year. There's so many great players at the JUCO level.
Parody.
No, I wouldn't say parody.
Nah, you're right.
That's what it is. Moving forward, back to Dalton Connect, Northern Colorado head coach. That's another JUCO player. But you know who I've thought has been criminally underappreciated during this tournament run for NC State? Not that he's even been playing all that well, but
Casey Marcel.
The guy who's been their best player all year, DJ Horn. Nobody talks about him.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Nope. Everyone just talks about how good DJ Burns has been because he's been great. DJ Horn was their best player all year.
Yeah.
All year. Now, the best version of NC State was always going to be when DJ Burns was cooking on offense. And that's what's happened recently. And when Mo Diarra is cooking on defense, that's what's happened recently. But DJ Horn, carried them through this season.
Yeah, no, he was their best player all year. Tremendous shot creator.
Valley born.
Valley born, yeah.
Illinois State.
Illinois State has had DJ Horn and Antonio Reeves.
Yeah, on that team. A couple of years ago, they had DJ Horn, Antonio Reeves, Josiah Strong, who was at
Colorado State, right?
Yeah, Colorado State. Dusan Mahorcic, who was at NC State.
And then Duquesne?
Yes. That is 4 high major players. Okay.
Was that the team that finished 8th?
I don't know. And then the next year they had Mark Freeman.
That's crazy.
And they also had Cy Chapman, who averaged 18 and 6 for, I'm not going to say the team because it kind of discredits my point, but it was a D1 team. Barely, but it was a D1 team. Almost as bad as the Missouri State situation from a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read that roster again. Isaiah Mosley, Jamonta Black, DeMarcus Sharp. Wait, I'm on the wrong year. Well, first of all, Jonathan Mobo averaged 8 points for them.
What year are you reading? Is this 22?
Yeah, 22.
Gage
Isaiah Mosley, Jamonta
Green
Black,
was on that team.
DeMarcus Sharp, Donovan Clay, Lucy, I don't know how to say his name, Patterson, who was really good for Charlotte. Isaac Haney, who averaged 12 at Austin P.
Mm-hmm.
Gage Prim,
who was their second best player.
Yeah.
And like Donovan Clay, who's like really good, who's good.
All right. Back to the point.
Yeah.
How does NC State win this game? Do you have any idea?
I mean, is it too simple to pull out the good old Jim Root shooting luck?
I'm not a betting man, but I would hammer the minus 9.5 on Purdue here.
I am waiting to see what some other people take before I throw some money around.
What other people?
Yeah. Their initials on Twitter may be BGB.
But my point,
which if I know him as well as I think I do, he's going to take NC State.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Not a single one. Anyway, back to my point. I don't see a matchup that NC State can exploit in this game. So
yeah, I don't either.
I'm not even a betting man. I don't give gambling advice. But I'd be all over that 9.5 line. I would take them up to like 11.
Do you think Purdue puts Lance Jones on Horn?
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt. And I just think Purdue, I'm going to be honest. I think Purdue pile drives them. I think they steamroll them. I think it's over at halftime. It's like 42-24 at halftime.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Boring game.
By the way, speaking of bets, I actually just placed a bet for the Final Four, and I want to hear your opinion on it.
Okay.
It's not anything to do with the game. I bet Tristan Newton at 5-1 to win Most Outstanding Player of the Final Four.
I like it.
I think he's got a better chance to win it than Klingon does. Klingon's like plus 290. It was weird. It was weird that he had better or worse odds, I guess.
Edie, the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
What are Edie's odds?
Let me pull it back up. I just closed out of the tab. Let's see. I'll read you like the top 5 best odds.
By the way, the fact that there's a team that's minus 185 and one of their players is not the favorite to win Most Outstanding Player
tells you how good Zach Edey is.
And it's not like Zach Edey is a bad team.
Zach Edey plus 180, Donovan Klingon plus 200, Tristan Newton plus 495, Cam Spencer is 4th plus 630, and then Stephon Castle's plus 18-1. And then you got like Braden Smith at 20-1.
Braden Smith has worse odds than 4 UConn players.
Yeah, I mean it's just because like they're very likely not going to give it to someone who is on the losing team.
What's DJ Burns' odds?
I don't know. I just closed it out. Mark Sears was the first non-Purdue or UConn player, and he was like 22-1.
Shall we talk about the game that Mark Sears will be participating in?
We shall. Are you in agreement that Bama has a better chance to beat UConn than NC State does Purdue?
Yes. And that makes me unbelievably nervous.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be nervous. I mean, I guess like I can't really say.
There's a lot of UConn is invincible talk. UConn is this, UConn is that.
Yeah,
No team is invincible. We've been saying this all year.
I touched on this earlier this week. I hate the way people are talking about UConn right now.
Like, look, it's not wise to pick against them. But I hate
not what we're telling you to do.
Look. What's the Trilly Donovan tweet from November? A team can look like world beaters one night and look like a JUCO and look like an NAIA team the next night. I don't want to talk shit about JUCO after praising it.
UConn's lost.
Also, no offense to NAIA. Shout out Chris Wright, the coach at Langston. I think he did a really good job this year.
UConn's lost one game at full strength.
Also, shout out Colby Blaine. I think he's a good coach too. Anyway, but UConn beat Marquette by 28 at home on Saturday. And then on Tuesday turned around and lost by 20 at Creighton. Everyone is saying
that's the only game they lost at full strength, right?
Yes, but back to my point. Like, UConn was quote unquote invincible after the Marquette game. They were the best team in the country, and it wasn't even close. And then Gary Parrish saw that they were playing Creighton next, and he willed Creighton to win that game, so he didn't have to keep UConn at number 1 in the top 25 and 1.
Yeah, I mean, it would be unwise to pick against them, but at the same time, we do have to understand that there is a path here for Alabama to win the game.
Alabama is one of the best offensive teams in the country. They're athletic, and they are so fast. Like, I'm not saying their pace is fast. I'm saying their players are fast.
Their players are fast, yes.
And they
what do you think the avenue is? Like Alabama shooting 53s and shooting it well?
Maybe not 50, but I think it's Alabama spreading the floor, putting Klingon in ball screens, and hitting open threes from the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, get Klingon high enough. Set high ball screens.
We got some elite X's and O's coaches in the Final Four, and then there's Kevin Keats. But
hey, that's Hargrave Military Academy legend Kevin Keats.
True story.
But, like, I do think Alabama has the avenue to win by just playing spread ball screen actions and, like, coming around. Like, you're not going to stop UConn's offense, I don't think. You have to just score with them.
Right.
And I think they can trade threes for threes for twos, twos for twos, and just hit 15 threes. That's my thing. Doesn't matter how you get there. Hit 15 threes, get offensive. Hit 15 threes and win the rebounding battle.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Alabama wins this game. And Alabama's a damn good offensive rebounding team.
Is there a better chance that UConn wins the game by 20 or Alabama wins the game?
Alabama wins the game.
I think it says something about UConn, though, that you had to legitimately think about that.
And, like, if UConn comes out and, like, wins by 30 again, would you be surprised?
No.
Would you be surprised if UConn comes out, wins by 30, and then comes out, wins by 30 against Purdue?
I'd be pretty surprised if they beat Purdue by that much, but, like, at this
Kevin
point,
just texted me, why are you talking about the Final Four? Can we talk about FAU instead? Red!
Blue!
F!
A!
U! Kevin, are you happy now?
Not a real chance.
Not a real chance.
I don't want to get sued.
Orange!
I've been told you're getting sued.
Anyway, back to the Final Four.
I mean, I don't really want to preview a game that isn't set yet.
Who do we think's going to win the national championship?
Huh?
Who do we think's going to win the national championship?
I mean, why would I go against UConn? We've been saying they're probably the best team in the country for well over 2 months now.
We've been saying they're the best team in the country since December. Come on, man.
You were on it earlier than me. I will give you your nod there.
I mean, I am a UConn fan, so
I just listen. Purdue UConn will be one of the most hyped up college basketball games that I think we ever will see.
I'm hoping it happens for that reason. By the way, it's going to get a ton of viewership.
Mm-hmm. Sports dead though. I've been told.
Yeah, the sport's dead. There's no appealing stars.
Nah, no stars. No.
I also think that saying college basketball sucks and then saying women's college basketball is awesome is really like discrediting the women's game being college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same sport.
Yep.
It's just women are playing it, not men. Obviously, it's a different playing field, but it's college basketball.
Do NBA fans watch the NBA?
No, they don't. They just post narratives on Twitter. College fans.
About to go look at box scores and argue with people who watched the whole game.
I do see that. And that's really funny.
This year's TBS and last year was CBS.
I think last year was TBS too.
I mean, last year there was like legit no intrigue for casuals to watch it.
There was no intrigue for There's never any intrigue for casuals. We're not a sport that caters to casuals.
No, not at all.
Like, college basketball is for the sickos by the sickos. Like, do you understand how much of a sicko you have to be a college basketball fan?
You know how big of a sicko you have to be to go cover an Albany Long Island game?
So I was texting with someone, and that person got a text from a coach who'd just gotten a new job and was asking about an NAIA player. Do you know how much of a sicko you have to be to work in college basketball?
Yeah.
Because that's like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
This is the greatest sport. Men's, women's, doesn't matter.
Greatest
Women's Final Four tomorrow night. We'll be watching. We'll have a show after the men's Final Four. We won't have a show tomorrow night. Maybe a brief one. And then we will cap off season 4 of Bracket Trolls and Bit Steelers on Monday night. And season 5 will start very soon.
That makes me so sad.
Why? That we don't have season 4 anymore?
We only have what? Like, we have, between the men's and women's, 6 total games left?
Yeah.
Now that the NIT's over. Congrats to Seton Hall, by the way.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does suck.
I was cheering for Indiana State pretty hard.
What a year in Terre Haute.
What a year. Josh Schertz, we'll talk about Josh Schertz going to SLU on season 5.
Any thoughts on Chipotle today? I know we said we'd get to that.
Darren Harris is freaking awesome.
What is
the defense that Donnie Freeman anchors allowed 60 points in 16 minutes? And I was not able to watch any of the other games.
I watched a little of I watched some of Columbus versus Lehigh.
How'd that go?
Boozers are really freaking good.
Yeah.
Lehigh's weird because like you got Edgecombe, who's one of my favorite players in the class.
Looking at the Montverge stats right now.
Coop had like 16 and 7 tonight.
Coop had 16, 7, 3, and 3 blocks. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, checks out. How much did Montverde win by?
Montford won by 15, 64-49.
And did Prolific beat
No, Link won.
Link won?
Devonsta was 5 for 18.
What did Stokes finish?
2 for 9.
Ugh.
You're not going to win a lot of games when Devonsta... But Devonsta's also like 16.
We can get into my Tyron Stokes is better than AJ DeBonsta narratives later in season 5.
Like DeBonsta like just turned 17, so like give him time. Saint Sebastian's legend.
The 2025 class is like also really, really good.
Yeah, I mean you got the.
I don't know enough about the 26 class yet to like make that claim, but the 2025
like,
class also has
Stokes is 16. Stokes is 16 years old.
Yeah. Crazy that the
Insane.
Crazy that the senior and junior classes right now in high school, the number one player in both classes is a reclass.
Yeah, Cam Boozer had, oh my God, 20, 10, 5, and 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
VJ, Kyan Anthony was 1 for 5.
Is the younger Mingo on Lou High the one that's the better one?
I have no idea. I
know there's Caden and Dylan. One of them's like
I don't know enough about Lou High.
And then yeah. So tomorrow is Link versus Paul VI and Montverde versus Columbus. Those are 2 good games. I mean,
yeah,
Montverde is like the greatest high school team ever, but like
2020 Montverde or 2016 Chino Hills. That's Caden them. That's Caden them.
That question produces some real. That question weeds out the non-ball knowers, if we're being honest.
He's got a lot of non-ball knowers.
Like, let's not even put in the let's not even put in the fact that like Lonzo Ball wouldn't be the best player on the floor if those 2 teams played.
All right. What'd you say?
If Chino Hills in 2016 played 2020 Montverde, the best player on the floor between those 2 teams is Cade Cunningham.
Yes. And
I don't think people realize that like LiAngelo Ball would have been like the 10th best player in that game.
Yeah, and like
and LaMelo Ball was like 14 years old.
Yeah, and Onyeka Okongwu was like 15.
Hey, don't forget about Loyola Marymount legend Eli Scott.
Hey, he was a Loyola Marymount. He was pretty good at Loyola Marymount, though.
Yeah.
He averaged like 15 a game. It's pretty crazy, though, that one small high school got those guys. I mean, 3 of them were brothers.
I mean, there are public schools that just get kids.
But it's pretty crazy that, like, they just
go look at some of the kids that Duncanville's had.
I'm pretty sure they recruit, though.
But they're a public school.
Doesn't mean they don't recruit.
Whether it's legal or illegal. I'm not making any accusations here, but like I'm just making the point that there are public schools that are consistently good that get.
No, I know, but it's just crazy. Like Chino Hills is not one of those schools that's consistently good, and they just got here's 3 NBA players.
I also wish that Chipotle Nationals, that it's now called, would let in non-prep schools, because those are not the 8 best. Those are not the 8 best teams in the country.
Who else do you want to see?
Let me think here. Like, I'd be thrilled if like Myers Park was in it.
You know what I want to see?
Myers Park's better than a couple of the teams in that.
I don't know who Myers Park is.
It's Bishop Boswell, Sir Muhammad, and Sadiq White.
Yeah. Anyway, the one thing I do care about, though, high school basketball is all about, like, the gyms, like, the community.
Mm-hmm.
These games in these, like, empty gyms feel so disconnected.
Yeah,
Like, it just feels like pickup games.
that's true.
Like, these kids are so good, but you really can't see the competitive nature of these games. They just don't feel as competitive as like even NIT games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing against the kids who are going 125%.
Oh,
But I don't enjoy Geico Nationals, Triple A Nationals as much as I should.
I would honestly expand the field, put 8 prep schools in and 8 non-prep schools.
Yep.
Like, I feel like this would be more intriguing if Don Bosco and I think it's pronounced McEachern.
McEachern?
Is that how it's pronounced?
I mean, I went to one of their games. I'd hope I know how to pronounce it.
I know, that's why I was asking you.
I mean, Stepanak was really, really good this year.
Yeah, put those teams in. Put Myers Park in. There are other schools like
2022 Glenbard West.
I mean, that team lost to a prep school at the buzzer. That was their only loss of the year.
Who did they lose to?
Sierra Canyon.
Right.
That was obviously Bronny, and then they had one other kid that was really good that I forget who it was.
Oh my God, they had Amari Bailey.
Yes.
Why do I know that?
You are correct, sir.
We're done here.
Oh, put one more. Put Harvard Westlake in.
Yes. Go ahead. Take us home.
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and his job, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the mindset, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Brooklyn Vic's recruiting process, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about Caleb Grill and what he's up to, you came to the right place. This is season 4, episode 60.
60.
Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. We'll see you Saturday night.